Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video, I wanted to do another Apex Arena PvP review match of the Season 3 playoffs, and this video will cover the match between Official dism or ErwinLiana and Roylee. So this match was actually much more surprising than you would expect from a finals match in the group elimination stage. But it just shows that depending on your luck with where you get placed in the where you get seated, if you will, you can either have very easy matches getting into the top 16, or you can have very, very tough matches. Alright, so with that said, let's jump in and take a look. Alright, so Roylee is going first, and the very first thing that happens is Roylee has Langrisser banned. Next up, Juggler is banned on ErwinLiana's side. So Roylee plays Juggler, loses Hiei and Deedlit early on. And Estelle is played for ErwinLiana. So Liana and Iris are now banned. Roylee plays Leonhardt, and then Zerda and Yusuke are now banned. Right. So I should mention that both sides only play 3 healers. No, Iris, Liana, and Wilder for Roylee, while ErwinLiana has Liana, Iris, and also Wilder. In some ways, you can say Deedlit has replaced that 4th healer. So, on ErwinLiana's side, Deedlit is played. So Wilder and Hiei are banned, and Roylee plays Claret. Liana and Rachel are banned on Roylee's side, while ErwinLiana plays Yusuke. So, Leonhardt, Zerda are now banned. Roylee chooses to play Wilder, and then Listel and Bozar are finally banned near the end, while ErwinLiana plays her Listel now. Actually a very good choice there, because there's no gospel for Roylee's side, you know. So Mystery Knight and Luna are now banned, and Roylee plays Mystery Knight, while ErwinLiana chooses to play Yulia out of Yulia and Bozal. Now that one's a bit more questionable to me, but I suppose Yulia can kill Juggler, right? And the lack of mobility is kind of covered by Estelle. Still, I'm not sure. I feel Bozal would have been a better option still. Regardless, it's not a bad play either. So Roylee chose to bring a faction buff on Juggler, because he's going to struggle with buffing in general. Right? Yes, Wilder has strengthened here, but he can only choose to strengthen one other character, which would be Knight of Mysteries or Claret. Could have strengthened Leonhardt, but then it just made more. I think it just made more sense to bring the faction buff on Juggler instead, ultimately. So the other interesting thing here is the choice of bringing Shield on Knight of Mysteries. And the main reason is because it provides the immunity to healing negation debuffs. So healing negation debuff would protect against Dark Tinker. That's the reason for Shield on Knight of Mysteries. Not a very common skill selection for her, but it can be very, very useful. So both sides are kind of setting up initially, and Roylee now has the teleport forward the AoE attack to dispel buffs and so on. Sword Breath. And then an Act Again strike with Air Slash, which kills off Yusuke. So that rapid Leonhardt assault has already taken out one of the threats of ErwinLiana. And that is actually, I should say, that is a great choice because in a lot of ways, Roylee's party should not have any problems at all dealing with Estelle, right? There's Claret, there's Knight of Mysteries, you know, so taking out Yusuke, who could single target strike and kill a lot of characters potentially, was just a good choice in general. So. Reaper's Touch is actually used on Mystery Knight, and it actually silenced her too, which is kind of crazy. Right? So it is interesting to see that ErwinLiana chose to bring Seal rather than Mindbore on Lestelle. Not exactly the option I personally would have picked, especially since, but it paid off there, right? Since it silenced the Knight of Mysteries. I would have personally felt that, you know, Mindbore would be more important for applying heal reversal and so on. And there was a very odd action from ErwinLiana, right? She moved Diglett into range of the Knight of Mysteries, right? And Knight of Mysteries is cavalry class, so she herself does more damage to Diglett. And since she's int based, right, Diglett here has low int, so without any issues, Knight of Mysteries easily one-shotted Diglett and could retreat back. Very odd choice of action there. So Claret attacks Lestelle and is actually able to one-shot her as well. Man, this Lestelle is kind of ridiculous. It was only 1386 attack and used Lightning Flash, but it could still one-shot this Lestelle. So once again, I'm not sure if this Lestelle actually has lacerates or not. Or is it because it might not have Swordsmith Metal? Let's take a look again. Aha! No Swordsmith Metal. So fixed damage beforehand broke the lacerates if she had it, and thus Claret was able to one-shot. Then at this point, Roylee 4 characters, ErwinLiana 2. Yulia easily gets killed, trying to attack Juggler, and ErwinLiana gives up. So quite a few mistakes from ErwinLiana there. Once again, both sides ban Juggler to start. ErwinLiana chooses to play Leonhardt first. And Roylee gets to play Landius this time around. So Diglett and Yusuke are now banned, so ErwinLiana is basically banning all the characters that Roylee used the previous match. And Roylee, as player 2, chooses to bring out Liana. act again, right? Meanwhile, ErwinLiana is playing a very time and space party, while Roylee gets to play Zerda now. So Landius, Liana, Zerda. Wilder is played for ErwinLiana, and Roylee plays Rachel. Interesting that Roylee didn't choose to bring Bozel there, but yeah. So ErwinLiana plays Bozel, and Roylee ends up with Listel. I mean, each to their own. I really would have played Bozel for a Bloodthirster, Zerda, who didn't need to bring her own faction buff. But, you know. I mean, Rachel is not a bad choice either. And after all, Rachel and Liana both have Gospel. So that might have been the reason why. Alright, let's get started. So as always, the initial approach. Now this is an interesting move from Zerda, right? She chose to Bloodthirst right from the start, rather than activating her faction buff. And instead of relying on her own faction buff, she gets Gospeled. Instant transfer Leonhardt forward. Right? That instant transfer was meant to block the act again on Zerda. And so instead, Roylee chose to act again Rachel here. And then Rachel uses the Dark Reaper to attack Leonhardt. Fails to kill. So once again, you know, see what I felt was if Bozel was here, Bozel could have put this Leonhardt to sleep and so on. So yeah, I think Bozel would have been the better pick than Rachel. But in any case, so AoE attack, and then Leonhardt gets to kill off Liana. Zerda chooses to take down Leonhardt. And Mass Attack is used by Howler, but it only affects himself. But since all the other characters have faction buffed, it's fine. So yeah. So there, Rachel has been affected by cannot be healed. So that's why, even though she didn't use her, even though I think she should have gotten some healing, she didn't. Estelle falls to Dark Tinker very easily, right? Since, after all, this Erupt is activated, Anger is activated, you know, hero damage plus 20%. So there, we're looking at plus 50% damage on Yusuke right now. So it's no real surprise that with the healing of Desperate Prayer, Yusuke was able to easily one-shot this Listel, who also did not have any, with missing most of her faction buff too. Sea of Miracles and Gospel. Deedlit probably moved too far ahead. That's the thing, yeah. So as a result, Rachel could have easily attacked and killed Deedlit. That should not have happened. But it is what it is. Yusuke, Dark Tinker attack, actually takes down Langrisser. And that is because Bozel's Black Hole had applied cannot use passive skills on Langrisser. So Indomitable does not get to trigger. So that single target strike from Yusuke with Dark Tinker again was able to finish off the enemy Langrisser. This has now become 3 against 2. Where, yeah. Yusuke fights against Zerda, kills her off, and so that battle was over. 2 against 1, there was no real chance for Roylee at that point. So once again, Juggler Ban, Langrisser for Roylee, and here we see Claret and Mystery Knight, and Zerda for ErwinLiana. So ErwinLiana has pretty much abandoned tanks and is going all out YOLO assault. Right. Meanwhile, Roylee plays Deedlit second and loses Leonhardt and Yusuke now. Bozel is played for ErwinLiana. Liana and Waller Band, while Roylee plays Zerda. So both sides have Zerda once again. Iris is now the pick for ErwinLiana. Luna and Yusuke are banned, and Roylee now brings out the healer. So once again, double gospel, just a strong combo in general. Next, Roylee loses Listel and Bozel, and ErwinLiana now plays Deedlit. So there's Deedlit and Iris, so double healer on that side too. Leonhardt and Listel are now banned from ErwinLiana's team, and Roylee ends up picking Rachel out of the choice of Rachel and Iris. It makes a lot of sense. You don't want 3 different healers, do you? You do need some damage dealers after all. So overall, Roylee ends up with a tank, a pure healer, and then 3 damage dealers, 2 of which are also decent healers as well. On the other side, ErwinLiana has Zerda, Bozel, and Deedlit, Iris for teleporting forward, and chose to bring Yulia as the last character as a damage dealer. So it makes sense because Knight of Mysteries does not do very well against a Lancer Langrisser, right? Knight of Mysteries would be good against, probably against the Cavalry Langrisser, but a Lancer Langrisser, right? Where she's doing reduced damage due to being Cavalry class against a Lancer class, not as much. So the initial turn, once again, will be setup turns. And one thing I should probably cover here is the skill selection on Zerda. So, once again, Backstab, Shadow Raid, and Faction buff on ErwinLiana's Zerda. That is very, very iffy to me. I probably would have changed it to a Bloodthirster version, right? Bloodthirster Zerda with Sly Stride would have probably been the better choice. Probably. In any case, though. It's also possible that ErwinLiana considered the fact that she can't really maybe assassinate, let's say, Dietlit. She would probably take too much damage in the one-on-one against Rachel, perhaps. And so she chose to do the Shadow Raid version. Yeah. Very possible as well. In any case.
そしてあなたのことよ
Gospel skills have been used. Interestingly enough, Zerda got +1 mobility. Right? I think that came from the accelerated aid. So that's why Dietlit chose to bring that 1 point passive rather than Sea of Miracles. Just for that extra point of mobility, which actually allows ErwinLiana Zerda to attack Roylee Zerda while staying out of range. Right? So in she goes, gets the kill, but now she's so far ahead that she's dead. Still, Zerda for Zerda trade, not too bad. And Yulia is now teleported forward, and she uses Godly Menace to strike. And there we get to see the power of the Templar Knights, right? The Templar Knights, with their extremely high magic defense value, right, completely tanked this hit from Yulia. Especially since the unicorns are not fighting on forest, mountain, or grassland terrain. So due to that, these unicorns were missing 30% attack. And as a result, they likely didn't do anywhere near enough damage to the Templar Knights. So that's why Landia survived very easily. Unicorns were unicorns were honestly a bad choice of soldier for Yulia in this situation. So now Yulia gets hit by an AoE, reducing her hit points dramatically. Gets healed up to the revival level. So Roylee gets to use Act again on Rachel to launch a second single AoE. Bozo follows up initially though with AoE Assault. Right, trying to apply debuffs. Didn't really work due to Gospel. And Sea of Miracles heals the characters back to full. So once again, those Templar Knights absorbing all damage, right? Because once again, unicorns were brought. Unicorns are not a good soldier choice for this map especially. They really need to be on forest, mountain, or grassland to perform. And now Rachel gets the one shot with Dark Reaper. So once again, lack of damage, right? So Rachel, after doing damage, healed up Landius, and so once again, the Templar Knights absorbed all the unicorn damage. Another AoE. But no cannot be healed was applied, so Landius was able to easily heal up. And now the counterattack from Roylee begins. Right?
あなたのことよ。
Demolish to remove some buffs. And then Beaglet to single target strike Yulia to at least kill her for the first time. Delay is held to full. But the big problem here is it's a 4v3. So in terms of action order, ErwinLiana is in trouble. Especially when Liana has acted again like this. So, with 2 more attacks in a row, ErwinLiana now surrenders. So, a massive, massive reason why ErwinLiana lost that match was due to actually bringing unicorns on that final map. If it was a different soldier, might have been a different fight entirely. And by different soldier, I mean Yulia really should have brought something that could counter the Templar Knights. So for example, actually, where is my Yulia? Right, there she is. So in particular, Yulia has Amazon Champions, right? So if she brought Amazon Champions on Yulia instead, that would have been one way to counter. Zealots probably would have done a much better job too, because Zealots, after all, they do physical damage, and as long as they have enough buffs, they get plus 45% stats. Might have been hard to get the plus 45% because you need 3 buffs, and Gospel, actually Gospel is 3 buffs. Attack buff, defense buff, and immunity buff. So yeah, Zealots could have worked too. Zealots, Amazon Champions especially, but not mass mates, not unicorns. Even Heaven's Guard would have worked. So that soldier choice was what really messed up the damage of ErwinLiana. Yulia bringing those soldiers, and the other character who brought unicorns was... oh man, there were actually 2 characters I remember, but in any case though, just unicorns are a bad soldier for that map in general. Alright, so I think that will be it for this video. Thanks for watching everyone. Nitro out.